Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Dialogues at the Vancouver Latin American Film Festival. The festival starts on September 4th. We're very excited to keep having these conversations with the directors that we are screening their films at their festival. My name is Christian Sida. I am the programming director of the festival that takes place in the unceded territories of the Coast Salish people in this city now known as Vancouver. We have friends now from Barcelona, Cuban director and producer, and Cuban journalist and now director, Abraham Jiménez and Claudia Calvino. They are the directors of ISLA, FAMILIA, a film that is screening at the festival on September 10. And we're pleased to have you. Bienvenido, Abraham. Bienvenida, Claudia. ¿Cómo están desde Barcelona?
Yes.
Thank you, thank you.
Thank you. We are very good, very happy. Very nice weather in Barcelona. Very hot. It's like being in Cuba.
Well, you people that are watching in Vancouver, you maybe don't know Claudia, but you know many of her films. We know Claudia at the Vancouver Latin American Film Festival for probably 17 years, many years. We show one of the first films she produced, La Piscina. And then we show many other films. The latest, I believe, was Santa y Andres about 3 years ago. That's the latest film we show from Claudia. And Abraham is a Cuban journalist. They both are a couple, because you'll see it in the film, and they both direct Isla Familia. Before I start the questions, I want to let Abraham to introduce yourself. Antes de comenzar, Abraham, quisiera ver si te presentas tú con nuestra audiencia.
Bueno, soy un periodista cubano, exiliado. Digamos que esa es mi principal característica que me define hoy, que vivo en Barcelona porque no puedo vivir en Cuba, justamente porque, bueno, intenté contar ese país y, bueno, no tengo nada que ver con el cine, pero, bueno, Claudia, en un momento de gran depresión, se inventó hacer esta película con 2 celulares y, bueno, hemos hecho esta película tan hermosa.
Abraham, as he says, Abraham is a journalist, is an exiled journalist, because he can't do his job in Cuba because he wanted to say what happened there. He doesn't have to do anything with film. But when they had this very big depression, Claudia had this crazy idea of making this film with only two cell phones. And that's what taking off to talk about Isla Familia, this documentary film that is really made with two cell phones. Even though it's made by a very experienced producer, they had to do it in this way because of the way Cuban society works, especially towards the journalists. Claudia, when did you, as Abraham said, you had this big depression and you wanted to make the film, but when did you decided that you could be the protagonist, the director of the film? And so when did you decide that let's do this film? It's worth the story to tell this.
No, I think the idea was more like to give Abraham, who was very, very, very sad. It was also the pandemic in Cuba. He wasn't allowed to go out, not even out of the country, which of course he was not allowed, but he wasn't even allowed to go out of the house for many days. So he was very, very depressed. And we thought that he had to tell what he was living, no, in a way. And it began like him making like self videos of himself. And he was always very he never trusted me when I was saying, yes, this could be a film. And even myself, because at the beginning, I don't really saw that, I don't think that I was preparing something very planned or very, I didn't think about that much. I just wanted to do something in the moment to take him out of himself, to explain it and to shoot it and to talk about it. I thought it was a nice way to take it out. And And then actually it was more than when we were almost leaving Cuba. A friend of us is a documentary director and producer and editor from Barcelona. Well, he's from El País Vasco, but he lives in Barcelona, and he I don't know how he find out about the project. I don't know how, and he said, "No, I want to help you." And he was un momentico, and he was like the real engine, because when we arrived here, he started shooting with us and talking with us, and he took a camera and start also following Abraham himself, because I started to work. So this was really
This is Teo.
Hola, Teo. Hello, Teo.
So it's a very important character in the film. So I think it was like something that happened in the time, in different moments of the whole period that the film shows, and it's well, it's something that came up very slowly, and the real strong plan of now we are doing a film. The feeling for me came when we were here and we start planning shootings, like, let's do this today, let's do this tomorrow. It was not spontaneous anymore. It was something like, today we were going to, I don't know, to an attraction park, and we say, let's shoot this day. And at that point is when I felt it was really something. And of course, the editing was also very important, no? First, because when we felt that we had a lot shot already, we talked to Lechuga, and he's a great, not only director but also writer, and he helped us to come up with the structure for everything we have shot. And then Dami Sainz, the Cuban also documentary director and editor, and Dami like rewrote again the story in the editing room, and that was the second time I really felt it was like, yes, we are doing a film.
Thanks, Claudia. And Abraham, I wanted to ask you. So the film tells the story of you as a family that had to leave Cuba because of the condition especially of doing your work. You are a recognized journalist, and that bothers the Cuban government. Tell us how difficult it was for you to be a journalist inside Cuba. How difficult it is now for other Cuban journalists, because there are many independent Cuban filmmakers in Cuba doing journalism. What are the conditions for a Cuban journalist today? Abraham, ¿cuáles son las condiciones para un periodista como tú y para los que siguen en Cuba? ¿Cuáles son sus condiciones para hacer su trabajo?
Bueno, básicamente en Cuba el ejercicio del periodismo es independiente, ¿no? El que no es del Estado, porque bueno, en Cuba hay un solo partido político, el Partido Comunista, y el Partido Comunista es el que rige todos los medios de comunicación, ¿no? Todas las radios, todas las televisoras, todos los periódicos. Si quiere traduce eso.
So in Cuba, you have to be independent journalist, otherwise you have to be with the government. There is only one government. There is only one party, the Communist Party, that controls all media, radio, newspapers, etc.
Y entonces hacer periodismo fuera de ese ámbito te convierte en un delincuente, es ilegal. Entonces todos los que intentamos hacer ese tipo de periodismo, bueno, nos persiguen, nos intervienen las comunicaciones, los teléfonos, nos llevan a interrogatorios, en muchos casos nos secuestran. Bueno, y es un poco lo que mostramos en la película.
So in Cuba, if you want to do independent journalism, basically you become a delinquent, and the police persecutes you. The police sometimes kidnaps you. They interfere your communications, and that's what we show in the film.
Entonces eso es lo que vivimos. Y además unas condiciones donde, bueno, Cuba es un país donde el Internet llegó en el año 2015. Entonces hay que hacer un Internet de manera obligatoria online para poder enfrentarse al poder, desde parques, desde sentado en las aceras, en condiciones paupérrimas.
also, for example, to have access to internet is almost impossible. You have to go to parks where there is internet. Is very to parks, to different street corners where this internet is almost impossible to believe this is 2025.
Pero lo hacemos justamente yo y los que lo hemos hecho y los que lo siguen haciendo, porque si dejamos de contar ese país, va a perdurar el relato del gobierno, ¿no? Que es un relato falso.
But we do it, I do it, and people still do it, because if we don't do it, the only story that's going to stay is the government's story.
Entonces nuestra única misión es contar la realidad y la verdad del país.
So our only mission is to tell the reality and the truth of the country. Gracias, Abraham. So this is part of what you'll see in Isla Familia. And before, Claudia, you were saying about the editing process. I wanted to ask you that how was the editing process? How do you put all this together? I guess you had a lot of footage, I'm assuming.
See, first, as we were shooting without any script or without any plan, and without, even in the very beginning, without really being serious about doing a film, when like 3.5, almost 4 years later, we had like a whole of things, so many things. And the first step was Abraham. He did his sit for many days, and he watched all of the things that we have shot, and he wrote a script. It was a very it was like a treatment, more than a script with dialogues. It was like a treatment for a documentary. And this is what Lechuga took and create a better structure, for the structure of a very conventional film, because the film, even though it's a cell phone, even though it's very personal, even though it's ourselves, the structure of the film is very conventional. So this is what Lechuga did, and we really appreciate, because when we start reading what he sent us, it was like, okay, this feels like something that progressed. It had the feeling of progression of a film. And then with Dami, I think it was for me, the most exciting and fun part of everything. And it was funny because, well, he's very sensitive person. I think he's one of the best editors in Cuba, and also very good director too. And it was funny because some days we were crying together, all together, or laughing, or crying again. And it was the hard part of the editing was letting go of things that we really liked it, but they don't belong to this story, especially because I think that at the end, the film was more about our life in Cuba, and the longing and the need that we felt of Cuba arriving here, the distance, the communication, and all that Cuba represents being here. And we had to let go of all that we have shot of the life here. We had a lot of things, and here life has its own challenges, and they are very strong. For example, I remember very specific one scene we had of Abraham coming from the subway station, and he has suffered a very strong moment of racism, and all the racism topic was very important for us of our life here, because he has suffered a lot, and all of us as mixed race family, it has a lot of presence in our life, and we couldn't include it. We have to let it go because it didn't belong to this film. Maybe we have to do another, but it was a process of letting go and to find the story itself in the process of the editing.
Thank you. Yeah, that's very interesting what you say. That would be another great film, that
Sí.
Abraham, the Isla Familia is in a section called Migraciones in the festival. It's 4 different films that talk about migrations. One film takes place in Panama, Querido Trópico. A King's Deserts is about Cuban doctors in Brazil. La Cocina is a film about Mexican immigrants in New York. And this is the film about you. You are the other part of this Migraciones section. And I read somewhere, or I heard somewhere, where you said that to leave Cuba is very different. That to leave Cuba, to be an immigrant, to be a Cuban immigrant is very different to be a Cuban immigrant from another part of the world. That the first time you leave Cuba is not like leaving another country for the first time. Can you develop a little bit more in that? Abraham, estoy diciendo que esta película es de la parte de migraciones, una sección con cuatro películas de diferentes países latinoamericanos, de gente que tiene que emigrar. Aquí en Vancouver, pues todos somos, Canadá es un país de migrantes. Te quería preguntar, que escuché o leí que decías que salir de Cuba por primera vez, ser un inmigrante cubano, no es como ser de otro país, no es lo mismo. ¿Podrías desarrollar más esa idea, por favor?
Sí, básicamente lo que quiere decir es que Cuba forma parte de ese paquete, de ese saco, donde hay muy pocos países que son diferentes, lamentablemente, al resto, ¿no? Lamentablemente el resto del mundo, bueno, por el capitalismo y por, bueno, la occidentalización de todo el globo terráqueo ha hecho que sea muy similar, ¿no? Incluso los más pobres a los más ricos en cómo funcionan las sociedades, ¿no? Y cada uno tendrá sus características, pero a grosso modo funcionan de una misma manera. Pero Cuba, Irán, Corea del Norte, son países que son muy distintos, ¿no? Por su sistema político, su sistema religioso. Y a eso es lo que me refiero, porque no es lo mismo. Yo lo explico incluso que casi siempre meten en el mismo saco a Venezuela y a Cuba, por ejemplo, pero no es lo mismo vivir en Venezuela que vivir en Cuba. Y son países donde a nivel incluso político se parecen mucho, porque por ejemplo en Venezuela hay incluso más de un partido, porque en Venezuela hay internet, porque en Venezuela hay mercados con mercancías, porque en Venezuela hay otro tipo de cosas que en Cuba no hay. Cuba es como vivir en un país detenido en el tiempo de un otro siglo, ¿no? Y a eso es lo que yo me refiero, ¿no? Cuando digo eso.
So when I say that, I mean Cuba is part of that small a few countries that are in this still, like such as North Korea, Cuba. Like still there is no internet, for example. It's not the same to live in Venezuela that to live in Cuba. Many people Cuba and Venezuela are the same, but not. Venezuela has many political parties. There is internet in Venezuela. There is food in the shelves in Venezuela. So to live Cuba, to be in Cuba is very different to be in other countries, because of capitalism, and because the way everything is being westernized in a way. Well, I don't want to say more because I want people to watch the film. No queremos decir más, queremos que vengan a ver la película. Así que nos vemos. We'll see you all. Well, not you because you are in Barcelona. We wish you were in Vancouver. Well, we'll see you in Vancouver on September 10 for the screening of Isla Familia. We have another Cuban film called Crónicas of the Absurd by Miguel Coyula. He will be in Vancouver. And those are the two Cuban films we have at the festival. And we also have a couple of short films, To Kill a Man from Orlando Mora. And there is another short film, I forgot now, from Otto Morales. We have another short film from Cuba. Abraham, Claudia, ¿quisieran agregar algo más para la audiencia o
Muchas gracias.
No, gracias y que disfruten,
Que
¿no?
disfruten el festival y la peli.
Enjoy.
Gracias. Bye, Teo.
Saludos, Teo.
Chao, gracias. Bye.
Bye, chao.